kid. And so they created distance by emulating somebody else. Research has suggested that the simulation of someone else's mind, in order to simulate someone else's mind, we actually activate the neural circuitry necessary to have that mind. So if I ask myself, what would Batman do? I literally have to think like Batman. I reactivate the kinds of thinking that I think Batman would have. In other words, literally turning me and my cognitive system into somebody else. So, when you are tired and drunk and mad and everything else, one way, if you can't think about your whys and you're having trouble finding distance from the object in front of you, it's not about not being emotional. It's really just finding some psychological space. And one way to do that potentially is to take on someone else's perspective, someone that you really admire.
Incredible. I don't know if the following experiment exists, but maybe pieces of it exist in different experiments. I'm interested in the value of words spoken to self in one's mind, words spoken to self out loud, but with no one around, writing things down, words spoken to other people, pictures, etc., as either weaker or stronger motivators for the obvious reasons. And I think all of us are familiar, at least in the 2000s, you would go into an office or a school and there'd be these pictures. It would be like, inspiration when, the moment meets the opportunity, and then it'd be like a sunrise or something like. And I'm not trying to make light of those, better those than like a bunch of other things, and they're very innocuous too, like in this day and age where no single historical figure seems to be immune from criticism. These have become the safe concepts. And I was sort of half chuckling, but what is the value of telling oneself, like, Andrew, you got this. Or telling someone else, I'm going to do this. I don't know, maybe using AI to create a picture of yourself in the future doing something or having done something. Surely these experiments have been done. I know some of them your laboratory has done. What is the most potent tool? And I have a feeling you're going to say all of them.
I think they can all have their place. But as I mentioned before, I think different things will have better power over others for certain people. So for example, if you tend to be the kind of person who already has a lot of self-talk going on, and the self-talk means something to you, like they're meaningful voices to you that you listen to, then self-talk presumably would be very effective for you, right? So if you're the kind of person where if it's positive self-talk, you literally feel better. If it's negative self-talk, you feel worse. Then perhaps strategically trying to change that self-talk could potentially have a really powerful effect on you. Some people talk about visualization. So I mentioned one thing I forgot to mention with respect to distancing strategy. One distancing strategy is to take a third-person perspective versus a first-person perspective on the thing that you're looking at. This doesn't work for me at all because I'm not a particularly visual thinker. I think in words. So for me, words are more effective than pictures. But if you're a much more pictorial person, and we know that this is a distribution, that some people are more pictorial and some people are more verbal, then perhaps visualizing yourself engaging in the behavior would be more effective. Let me add one more thing. There is research that suggests that when you communicate something to somebody and then they respond in a way that makes it seem like you are on the same wavelength, that creates an experience known as shared reality. People put a special premium in truth value to those interchanges than when you don't have that. So let me just give you an example. On a lot of college campuses today, you will see banners that say, "You belong," and they're trying to promote inclusion and make everyone feel at home on the college campus. And my own intuition about this is I'm not so sure how effective those are. I think they're a lot like the motivational posters that you're talking about that used to be in the offices. However, if someone says, "Hey, you know what? I think you really belong. I think I'm really happy that you're here." It seems it's a very similar message. Maybe it might even use the same words. If it's conveyed in a way that makes you feel like they understand you and that you guys are on the same wavelength, that actually has a very powerful effect. And there's some ongoing research in my lab that actually, even though it's the same words, there's something about that exchange of we see the world in the same way that convinces me that what you're saying is true, and so therefore it has a much bigger impact on me. So I bring this all back to self-control by saying, well, so you talked about, is self-talk more effective than other talking? I suspect other talking would be much more effective if you were able to create this kind of reality, right? Where if you had this conversation and you said, "I'm going to do this," and that other person says, I know you're going to do this, right? I bet that has a lot more power than you saying to somebody else, I'm going to do this, and they're like, good luck, right? So there are, because humans are social species, there is a special power when we can create a sense of oneness with others that makes our thoughts become real. So if by saying it, by writing it, my thoughts are becoming real and have more power over, those are much more likely to have an effect. Again, this is all pure speculation, but I think it fits what we know about psychology.
That's incredible. I'm remembering a recent conversation where, we was kind of playing with the idea with someone, like it's the old, riddle, if a tree falls in the woods, and no one's there to witness it, did it make a sound? It's sort of like if we have a thought or an experience and no one was there to hear it or witness it, did it really happen? And we know it happened, right? We could be alone and we can have a thought, but there does seem to be a sort of loop that closes and gets enhanced. And I'm not trying to be mystical here, when something that we say or do is witnessed and registered. This can go in multiple directions. I'm reminded of a just very brief story. I have a good friend. His name is Ken Rideout. He's one of these incredible parents, and is a husband to his wife, and he comes from a really hard Scrabble background, and he's this incredible endurance runner, and in his 50s he's like crushing races, and he was doing a race in like the I think it was like it was like the Gobi Desert, I think is what it was, and he's super competitive with himself and everyone else, but he was hurting one day, and I think he ran up next to the guy who was leading the race, took out his earbud and turned to him, and he said, in kind of psychological warfare manner, he said, I don't know what it is about me, I just don't get tired. And he said he registered the fear on the other guy's face, and he just crushed him that day, and he won, of course, in Ken Rideout typical fashion. He's an amazing guy. He has a book out that's like really, it's super worth reading because of his trajectory, like David Goggins or these other guys. And the fact that he wrote a book is interesting, right? It's not just, there's something about externalizing these thoughts. I am sure somewhere in his mind, he didn't necessarily believe what he was saying. Everybody gets tired, right? Even Ken Rideout gets tired. But there's something about externalizing it, seeing that validated, that makes it more true to ourselves. And that's a kind of a competitive example, but there are also beautiful examples of that, like you said, where someone's like, I believe in you, like you can do this. And it completely changes our notion of what's possible. I certainly experienced that in a non-competitive arena. So something there, I guess that's a note to the person or people hearing somebody's goal or wish to like tune in, because those are potent moments, or potentially potent moments.
I'm always struck that the impact that we have on our students, especially our graduate students and stuff, they're not the things I think they're going to be. They always remember these side conversations where you acknowledge some small thing that was going on in their life, but again, for them it was that sort of moment of like, and bringing to reality some of the thoughts that they were having, and hearing me say them or hearing me verify some of these thoughts had an incredibly uplifting event. As you say, it can also have an incredibly crushing event. So if I'm having insecurities and I'm sort of harping on those, acknowledging that those insecurities might have a truth to them, they could be incredibly damaging. But I'm always amazed by how inspiring it can be. Someone that you really respect, they know you have this goal, and then they say, like, I know you have this goal and I think you can do it. Like it brings, that's what I'm talking about, the shared reality, the social validation of this belief makes it more real and thus has more power. We know that writing thoughts down can be a very powerful thing as well for emotion regulation and motivation. I think part of that is just the actual sharing part, is the fact that now that I've written it down, I'm now looking at it as if it was not me, right? So now it's not me, it's words on the page, and that brings another level of power that I didn't have when they're just floating. So I think all of these strategies that you were talking about, self-talk, writing, talking to other people, I think they can all be powerful in the right way for the right person, but they may also exist on a continuum of potential potency, both good and bad.
What I'm about to ask sort of gets into the realm of like performance, but I could imagine it being used for any number of things. Music, in particular, the music that we listen to at a particular stage of life, is able to embody a lot without us having to like script out complete sentences. It's sort of a time-space travel of its own, right? There's certain songs, I'm sure for you to you. I hear them and I teleport back, you know. Is it possible to build these anchors, you know, like have a song or something that you associate with a time of like working through struggle, that the process is captured in that and then you can reapply it? Like, do those tools really work? Because there was this phase from about like 1998 to about 2015 when like TED Talks and books were chock-a-block full of this stuff. It's not clear to me that they work or that they don't work, but music's a powerful anchor. So has anything been explored around this?
Not that I'm aware of. The best work that I can link to this is what I know is nostalgia. And nostalgia traditionally is portrayed in most media as something really negative, bittersweet state. But research in psychology suggests that nostalgia actually has a very functional process. It serves a lot of different motivations. So for example, one of the things that it does is it helps make me feel connected. So a lot of times I might feel like I don't really know myself, I don't know who I am. And nostalgia is a way of, as you used the word anchor. It allows you to time travel and anchor, and then more importantly, see a sense of self-continuity, that I can see how I was there then, and I can see how I am now, and I feel a sense of connection, a sense of oneness. And that can have a lot of positive benefits to the extent that that's what you're looking for. So, you know, to the extent that music makes you nostalgic, and I think a lot of the music that we love most has an element of nostalgia to it, I do think it serves a very important distance traveling function, time traveling function. And you use the word anchor, which I really like too. It reminds us who we are, where we've been, and who we've become. And we know for humans that's a very, that narrative, that sense of continuity is also very important for existential reasons, that I belong here for a reason, that there's a purpose. And so motivationally, those can be very effective. Now, I don't know if it reinstates the motivations that you had during the time, but I think it at least allows you to connect to the time when you had those motivations. They may have changed, they may be stronger, they may be weaker, but that sense of connection I think is really important for understanding what your motivations are in the first place, right? How they've evolved over time and what they are now like. To the extent that they're the same, it might be able to reactivate, but to the extent that they're different, it actually might cause deactivation, but not in a bad way, but in sort of a good way, in reminding you, okay, now what motivates you, now what's changed, what do you care about now?
I'd like to just briefly return to the concept of intrinsic versus extrinsic motivation. As I recall, there was this famous set of experiments also done at Stanford where they had kids draw, where kids drew intrinsically like drawing. They just observed which kids drew. Then they started rewarding those kids for drawing, and then they observed, at least as I recall, the outcomes being they observed that some of these kids drew less or gave up drawing because the conclusion was that these kids now were doing it for the rewards as opposed to the activity itself. Did those results hold up over time?
Generally speaking, the results have held up over time, although, you know, there are some situations in which they appear at odds with current practices and intuitions that we might have. And the best example I can think of is being paid for your job, right? So being paid for your job is something that you is an extrinsic reward for something that you may or may not be intrinsically interested in. And so the big question is, if you love your job, and then I pay you to do the job that you love, does the love that you have for that job go down? Now, I don't think this is that perplexing if you understand what was actually going on in those Stanford studies. So they were children. So again, the children were intrinsically enjoyed playing with markers. And then all of a sudden, in one condition, they were saying, okay, now I want you to play with these markers. And if you play with these markers, I will give you a reward. A second condition, they said, surprise, you just play with the markers, but we're going to also give you a reward. And then the third condition, there was no reward, right? And where you saw intrinsic motivation go down is when the child knew before they got to play with the markers, the second time, that they were going to get the reward. So they knew they were playing with the markers to get the reward. It's unclear to me whether that same confusion would happen with adults. So if I know I love this job, and now you're paying me a lot of money to do this job that I love, is it possible that I will get confused and start to think, oh, I'm actually doing it because I'm getting paid? Yes, and I think we can think of people who have had that experience. But you can also imagine that as adults, I know what I love. And I'm not even paying attention to how much money I'm being paid, even though I'm being paid. what matters here is the confusion. Why am I doing what I'm doing? And you could imagine with adults, if I'm really clear why I'm doing what I'm doing, that confusion might be less likely to happen than if I'm not as clear about what I really, really love. Now, I will say what I just said is very controversial, and I'm sure the psychologists who are listening to this are going to be all up in arms about how that can't be true. I think there are multiple theories about how intrinsic motivation works, and I'm drawing for those expert listeners from the attributional approach. And what matters here is the conclusions one draws from one's actions. Why am I doing this? Depending on how I answer that, will dictate how my motivation flows. If I'm doing it because I'm trying to get the extrinsic rewards, then it becomes extrinsically motivated and my motivation drops. But you can imagine, again, with adults, those who really know that they love the thing and they're really certain they love the thing, they may be a little bit more resistant to that.
Interesting. And as adults, we can also connect dots and expand our whys. Say, well, I love doing this thing, get paid for doing it, and those resources can help me provide for others who I also love. So it's sort of exponential. I remember a salary discussion with my chairman, not at Stanford, but when I was down at UCSD. I won't mention who it was. You'll never figure it out, folks, because there were several chairmen during my time there. And I'll never forget, during a salary negotiation, he said two things. He said, A, you can't make more money than me, which seemed fair. He's running the department. I was a junior professor. And he said, and never forget, you're going to make far less money than you deserve for most of your career, and then you're going to make far more money than you deserve at the end of your career. And I remember thinking, like, that's the worst argument I ever heard to somebody who can't afford housing or whatever. Anyway, Stanford always treated me well. But, and in many ways, he was probably right. Nobody goes into academic science to make money. It's just not what you do. You can look at anyone running a lab, certainly in academia, and you can be sure that the amount of work that they're doing reflects their love of discovery and doing science. I feel very comfortable making that statement. But in a lot of careers, people do make a lot of money for something that they intrinsically loved. I'm thinking about performing artists, for instance. And from my friends who are in that world, I think it can create a lot of dissonance, because they'll start taking tours and they'll start doing album deals simply for the finances, and they get used to a certain lifestyle, which brings me back to this chop wood, carry water notion and the ikigai. Is that how you pronounce it?
Yes,
Ikigai notion earlier. Several of the people who I've observed have incredibly long, super successful creative careers. I've been fortunate enough to speak to some of these people and know a few of them. And 100% of them will say that they still engage in a lot of mundane tasks throughout their day. Yeah, they have a lot of hired help and things like that, but they're still picking up after their kids. Some of them are still edging the lawn. They're still doing these things because when they didn't, they thought that all their time would expand into doing their creative work, and they found that wasn't the case. They actually had lower motivation. And I'm sure there are exceptions to this, but I don't know, there's really something to this, like staying in the groove of what you were doing in the early to maybe mid portions of your career when you were like climbing the rungs. It's almost like a mental muscle.
Yeah, it seems to me a little bit like just I guess I mentioned before, like staying connected to the process, to the way that I used to do things. I will say we have to be really careful though, because I think this relationship between external rewards and intrinsic motivation can be exploited. So there's some research suggests that when we know somebody loves the job, we don't feel the need to pay them as much because we know they'll do the job anyway, right? So whereas if you took two people, one who is intrinsically motivated and one who's extrinsically motivated, you have to pay the extrinsically motivated person a lot more money to do the same job than the person who's intrinsically motivated. But it begs a lot of questions about fairness. Should you really be paying two people different amount of money when they're doing exactly the same task, just because they have differences in motivation? And in some respects, you're almost rewarding the person that you probably don't want doing the job because they're just doing it for the money as opposed to they really love what they're doing. I think a lot of employers would like to believe that or like to have employees who are intrinsically motivated, because people who are intrinsically motivated will often do the extra step, they'll do the hard work. But again, there's always this concern that they could be exploited, because we know, because they derive some value from the work itself, that we might have this perception that they don't need to be compensated quite enough. So there is this exploitation effect that's really dangerous and pernicious.
Are there any elements of Japanese culture that you wish you saw more of in the United States for, let's just say, your students and for young people in general, but maybe adults as well, and vice versa, that you, in the context of your work, because they are very different places culturally. Certainly there's overlap too, but numerous times across our conversation on and off microphone, we sort of touched into some of these really incredible concepts in Japan and Japanese culture. Certainly we have them in the United States and elsewhere too, but you're in a unique position to answer this if you're willing. And I'm always interested in how concepts from other cultures and our own could be, looked at.
Well, I should say first and foremost, I'm Japanese American. I'm Nisei, so I was born here. So I have never lived in Japan. So I think a lot of Japanese listeners might say, "Oh, he's not really Japanese." I'm definitely Japanese American. My connection to my culture mainly comes from food, because I like eating and cooking, mostly eating, and I also, as I said, I used to practice martial arts. I used to practice the Japanese martial art kendo, which is sword fighting. I've never actually thought about this question, so the question that you've asked is a really tough one for me, and I'm going to have to just sort of think on the spot. I think for me, one of the things again, psychology I think is starting to come to grips with it, but a lot of the work on mindfulness I think is really interesting and important. But I don't know that we recognize enough is sort of the importance of breaks, opportunities to take your foot off the gas. Again, I'm not so sure it's Japanese culture, in society, that they're good at that either. The stereotype is that they work all the time, so maybe they have just the same problems that we do. But from the outsider's perspective, at least the notion of mindfulness suggests that there are times where we need to not be so goal-directed and so driven, but instead just enjoy the moment. But it's not even enjoy the moment like I'm going to enjoy this chocolate cake. It's like just enjoying being here in this moment. I think that's an interesting idea that I think in psychology we are wrangling with. There's a lot of research in this area, so perhaps it's not quite answering your question. The other notions that I think are interesting is just sort of the notion of this notion of wabi-sabi, that there's beauty in decay and non-perfection. And again, I think that's an idea that can be foreign in the Western cultural space, where, like if we think about our landscaping, or we think about, what we want, the way that we dress, it has to be perfect, right? Like, so we get all this cosmetic surgery, or we, buy all these clothes, and if it's one wrinkle, we have to, change clothes or whatnot. Like you mentioned the word optimization before, that things have to be perfect. Where in Japanese culture, there's a beauty in the imperfection. In fact, you actually intentionally build in the imperfections to have beauty. And I think, again, in the context of this conversation that we just had, embracing the suck and starting from the place of not being perfect to try to strive for something better, again, might be an idea that we could incorporate. And we also already talked about ikigai, this idea of finding connection and expansion and meaning, purpose in something really mundane or ritualistic or simple. I think is also a really interesting idea that might sort of explain some of the lack of happiness that we're currently experiencing in our own culture, where we're constantly future-oriented and we're always looking for bigger things, as opposed to finding beauty in the simple things that we do. Like the most mundane tasks that we do might be the most important things that we do, but we just don't code it that way because our eyes are on the prize downstream. And I wonder if that too might be an interesting idea worth exploring.
It's interesting to think about your answer in the context of the mundane or the chop wood, carry water type plug and chug, whatever people want to call it, because therein seems to be at least part, if not all, of the operations that we're applying to the big lofty goals, just on repeat with this thing, this concept, like I'm going for this big whatever trophy, degree, founding a company, building this like when we think about external things, but even for people who have like a really big family concept, beautiful, right? But I've seen a lot of people crushed under that pressure too. And then they end up with a kid who doesn't fit into their family concept, and it's like completely destabilizing for all their ideas. They thought they could script it out according to their family album from the past. I don't wish that, these hardships on anyone, and yet they're kind of like the stuff that make life great too, in a weird way.
Yeah, that brings us back to the idea of wabi-sabi, like beauty in the imperfection, in beauty in the decay, and yeah, like we can embrace what is not perfect, which seems, just sort of thinking about my own life, like, wow, that's, in some sense, that's totally foreign. You're taking pictures and it has to be the perfect picture. You're saying this perfect family, like we have these mental models of what the goal is, and we only achieve it when you're there. It's interesting to think about, like, giving some degrees of freedom in that and finding meaning in that. I think that's a really interesting idea.
Yeah, it's actually one place where social media has, in my opinion, has shown a bit of humanity, contrary to the stereotype. Like, I see a lot of social media stuff, and sure, like you'll see incredible feats of artistic or athletic or whatever, and they'll get like tons of views and likes. But every once in a while, someone will come along and very authentically, like, confess a failure or come along and just, express a hardship that they're going through, or a win that doesn't really fall within our normal notions of what a win is, and it's like an avalanche of interest in those. So I think there's a natural kind of magnetism to these, like, just human elements. So I appreciate you being willing to take that answer to answer that question, on the fly, because it's not within your PubMed profile, but I do believe that the people we are
No
comes to the
way.
science we do, and numerous times throughout today's discussion, I've detected these elements of like who you are in this, and it's impossible to
Absolutely,
separate.
absolutely.
So thank you for the consideration. And as a final question, I'm actually just really curious what you want to do now. Like, what is the experiment you're working on now, or the dream set of experiments that you think can really move the needle forward in your own concept of this work? Because clearly you're very focused on it, and we're very grateful that you're doing this work. But yeah, like, what are you most excited about right now?
One is, we tend to think about self-control, again, at the tactic level. What do I do to overcome this temptation? And I think largely overlooked is this idea of, what do I want to do? Again, because you don't get your goal from a single behavior. It's through repeated patterns of action. So to really come up with better ways to understand repeated patterns of action in the lab or in the field, I think is a major challenge that the field has to take on and hasn't. And I think one of the reasons why we haven't studied it is because it's so hard. That's why we go back to these one-shot deals. I think that's one of the most important things to think about. Another is, and again, we talked about this two modes idea. Am I pursuing the one goal, or am I pursuing the many? I think in psychology, we have spent a lot of time focusing on the pursuit of the one. And we haven't really done a good job of sort of embracing the pursuit of the many. To the extent that we have, it's usually like two goals. So like work-life balance, we'll look at how people navigate those. But as I mentioned before, we have more than two goals at any given time. So how do we integrate all of these goals? How do we pursue them all the time? How are we juggling all these balls and keeping track of them? Are there goals that we have that we're not even aware of, that we're actually pursuing? Really interested in that. And related to that is sort of fitting goals into the broader constellation of all the things that we want, like connecting goals to these big underlying values and motivations that we have. That link is not really well understood. So we talked a little bit about getting our ducks in a row, seeing like the whys of a particular, like when you think about your goals, the broader motivations of what motivates them. How did that come to be? Like, did our system just know that these things were aligned, and now retrospectively we're making the connections? Or does making the connections have an important impact? So not just multiple goals, but also levels of goals and how they connect to more fundamental motives, and how we know that whether a goal is right for us, I think fundamentally requires understanding whether they resonate with these broader motives that we had. And again, as you mentioned, also like getting things aligned, like that alignment idea. I don't know that we really understand how people do this. It's magical. When we get it right, we do amazing things. How do we know it was the right thing to do? Like, there's no textbook, there's no wiring. So what are the cues? What are the signals? How do we discover what we really want? Those kinds of things, I think, are the future of our science. I don't know that it's going to require a lot of methodological development, but I think those are the big questions I'd like to see us address.
Awesome. I look forward to seeing what you and your colleagues discover next. And I want to thank you Thank you so much for coming here today, sharing the work that you've been doing in your lab. When I discovered your webpage and saw a few things you had done previously, I was like, I really, really want to sit down and talk to Ken, because I can tell that not only is the work embedded in something that we all grapple with, and that's extremely important to life advancement, no matter how ambitious or non-ambitious somebody is, but it's also clear that you're bringing in a real understanding of just how dynamic our lives are. It's like not one goal, and studying these things in isolation has served us well, I think, in the past in building a framework. But I think it's just terrific the way that you're throwing your arms around all of it. And as I mentioned before, it's clear, whether you intended it or not, that you bring a lot of humanity to this in considering, yes, there are answers, they vary. You need a dynamic toolbox, and yet there's evidence that certain things really work. So I know I'm going to incorporate a number of things that you shared today, and I know our listeners will as well. And so thank you for doing the work you do. Please come back again and update us as things evolve. And once again, really appreciate you.
Really honored to be here. Thank you.
Thank you for joining me for today's discussion with Dr. Kentaro Fujita.
That's how a cat sounds like. Yes. Ugh. Man, I've been hella lazy when it comes to streaming. There's a reason for that, but ooh. I guess Lahalito would. One of them. I just don't feel like streaming my gacha. Well, I mean, I'm streaming gacha again today, but there's not really any games that I feel like starting to play. I bought a couple games just for streaming, but didn't have the urge to start them. Ugh. And now I'm hooked on wizardry, so we'll see if I ever get the motivation to start playing something else at some point. Mm-mm. Oh, yikes. Okay. The heal. Dying to dailies. Whoops. Hush. Right. I can't really do any progress since I switched to Thief to level it up a bit for passives. Which I'm done now. So if I want to progress, I have to switch back to Knight. Did nothing though. $16. I'm not spending gems to do this. But that means don't really have anything to do here. I mean, I could catch more bounties, I guess. Fuck it, let's just do some bounties. Around poison rocks. Whatever that means. Like here? Who the fuck? Generally, they always attack me, so that's the first. Wait, that's the bounty, right? Nope. Who cares? Now that's the bounty, right? Standing still. Okay. Yep. Holy. Well, unholy. Maybe I should hide. Or illusory mist. Lurlik? Yeah, I don't know why I expected it to kill anyone. This might be bad. MC might die. Do I just fucking commit? Ah, fuck it. Okay, I mean, they're not that tanky. Lahailito? Lazelos. Thank fuck for edifying. That's fine. Okay. He takes 0 magic damage. Okay. I get it now. Lucky. Okay. I got the fucking sound bug. One more marker and we're about to rank 5. Where the fuck do we get the next marker? Ugh. What the fuck is his name? Capture them alive? Really? Wait, capture how many alive? What the fuck? Maybe I just have to catch one. Man, this bug sucks. I'm just gonna restart. Maybe. Ugh. Shit. Yeah. Since when can you use physical underwater? Could you always? Oh. Wow. First time I've seen her hit so fucking hard. Ah. I'm supposed to catch them, right? Okay, only the middle one. Okay, fair enough. Nice stun. That works out for me. One down. That was unnecessary. That hit hard. Two down. Should I assume that this guy has the same amount of HP like the other two guys, or... I'm gonna hit him with 3, maybe. Maybe. Oh, she doesn't have one. Where are my fucking ropes? Rope him. Damn it. Oh no. I might not have brought ropes. Fuck. Well, that sucks. Yeah, this is what happens if you fucking set auto refill, I guess. I'll come back. Did I did I apply some gamma to this camera? I'm turning into a ghost. I'm disappearing into the water. What the fuck do I have color key? For the immersiveness, maybe I should turn on color key. I'm turning color key back on. For your immersion? No, for my immersion. I'm immersing myself into water. Oh no! Why the fuck am I freaking out? What? That's what happens if it's solo? Toka. Narashine. Hey, 300. I want that. I do want that. You get a mastering for this? What the fuck? Alright. 5th district in the galleon. Where the fuck did I get 1 million? What's that? Login bonus? Masterwork katana. Oh, that's silver katana. Shit. Why didn't... Okay. Shrouded kunai. Silver kunai. How do you get beclouded? Man, I wish there was like some kind of database where you can find where things are. like a drop rate database. Instead, I just have to log on to the Discord every time. Oh, okay, fuck you then. AI, you stupid bitch. Benjamin. 裏生まれだ。Huh? Who that? Oh. Oh. Oh, never mind. Don't care much with Wild Strike at the moment. I mean, I guess it might be good to have for something. I have an urge to pull. But there's no reason to, since I already exchanged once. I would love to get some more Deborah. Or even like another copy of Galbadis. Raging King is dope. Just a 10 shot. It's really not worth it though. Save! Save, man. Save, Dora. Save. Okay, bounty, 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 bounty. To the bounty. 5th district. Time to look it up. Bounty. Yeah, right. Wizardry bounty. Daphne. Huh? Their map looks different from mine. Oh, okay. It's here then. Can I reach it? Shit. There's just so many enemies. Wow, my challenger striking. Fuck. I mean, I have to clear them out. Bitch. I mean, that doesn't help, does it? Or maybe it does. Wait, does it? Man, I hate navigating Abyss too. Jesus. This takes us to 7th. Fuck. How do I get there? How do I get there? It has to be the long way from 4th district, I suppose. Now I need to go up, which is here, which is... Okay, I mean, I guess not that difficult. This is the 3rd district. He's going down, like going up in districts. So this was right. No, it wasn't. What the fuck's going on? No, I'm Pepega. I'm supposed to do this. And then going down. Pepega. Now we're in the 5th district. And now we can finally get to our destination, which is... No. Yeah. Was that a bounty thing I just fucking missed? Hold on. Oh. Boom. Now I encounters, no encounters, no encounters, no encounters, no encounters, no encounters, no encounters. Dodge everything, dodge everything, dodge everything, dodge everything. Fuck. I don't need junk from this abyss. Can't fool me. As far as I know, there's no like rare uniques in this abyss. It might be wrong. I haven't researched. I don't know. And there's so much shit I don't know in this fucking game, man. I wonder how strong stave bonking is. There's the bounty. Oh god. Cult leader putty. Oh, holy shit. That's not 3. No problem. Let's... No, well, I got the important ones. Yeah. Should have used eddying. Okay, makes sense. She was only 2 bounty markers. Man, the trip here was more pain than an actual fight. How do I get back? Oh, I see. The second one was the galleon, right? Do I need to refresh or? Galleon where? The lower deck? Lounge? Oh. Fallen Princess of Bewitching Dreams. Green mob on the minimap will always be in the room that requires the Vernad side quest to open. Vernad side quest? Oh, dude. Wait, did I do it? I don't think I did, considering there's like chests there. I guess I can go check. Or there's still warp ones. This hatch. Oh. Oh. I guess I did. I guess I did the fucking quest. Oh, fuck, it's underwater. Can I do it underwater? Oh, mana elixirs. Very nice. Makes sense since this reward is locked behind a quest. That's not her, right? Yeah, I can run, so. Right? But I'm standing on that tile right now. Okay, well. She's not showing up though. What? Huh? Oh, lower deck 1. Whoops. Yep, I don't think this door is open. But I'll check. Get fucking juked. Okay, there I can see the target, but can I access the room is the question. Please let me in. Yes. All right. Holy charm. All right, I know what the fuck I'm looking for. So, anti-charm, go. No charm, please. No, thank you. Oh my god, I might not be able to have Camille do anything else. Accuracy down on these guys, I guess. Miss everything. Pocket Sanch. Prayer. Oh. I guess we just have to do normal healing. Let's kill the front. Oh my god, they are tanky. Surely. Oh, okay, they are very tanky. 3? Okay, 3 gets 1. Oh. And they, of course, okay. Masolotu. No charm, please. Nope. Nope. Chronostasis this motherfucker. Merlick? That barely does any damage. Maybe not worth. Die, please. Oh my god, healer is so... Ah, I didn't know you could do that. Porto on Camille. Oh! No. Oh no, 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 no. Gotta get rid of that. Let's put Ultra Heal on Berkanon. Read this. Oh, critical poison. No. I gotta get rid of this thief. Get stunned. Best Lana Veil. Oh, since he's stunned, might as well. Berkanon won't die here, right? Alright. Oof. Okay. As long as they don't hit Berkanon, should be fine. Oh. Oh my my god, you bitch! Mana suction is fine. I'm just gonna chronostasis your ass. Why didn't I... Ah, fuck it. I guess we... heal. Just get rid of him. Can be arsed to have him cast Masolotto. Adding mist with poison works pretty well. That's... I wonder how much damage this does. That was with Shirty. Man, this fight would be cancer if I didn't have healer. Oh my god. Here, ultra healing. Don't really need a Morphic. Oh, I don't have Latomorphis 3. Shit. Body. Man, I've never hit body ever. I had time for 2. I guess heroes. Don't want MC to die. But I think she will die now though. Ah, just in case. Oh. And also just in case so she doesn't fucking dodge. Oh. Hey, stunned. Nice. Well, didn't even get to do my full strike. And we go home. Oh shit, Birkin is dying. Oh. Spot. Hold on, Birkin on. Fuck. Get away. Get away. I have to bring Birkin to the Pokemon Center. Maybe it would have been faster to just fucking face them. I don't know. I'm taking the wrong way. And I fucking ambushed myself. Hmm? Ooh, a chest. Is it just me or have the rewards gotten bigger? Bro, fuck off. Please go to the right when I flee. Okay. I think that's enough for the next level, but I want the fuzz. I want the fuzz. Where the fuck do you get the fuzz? Ikari Aran. I can be one away, right? Well, that's one. Should be easy. Entrance area. Okay, good. That's not too bad. Grasslands with an northern winds. Hit the inn first, though. Murimon God. I have to change my autofill things. I don't need Inferno no more. I need Torrent. No, Torrent. Treasure Fever, not so much really. I mean, having one is when I'm farming, I suppose. Unbinding. Rope? No, if I do bounty. Spectral Canopy, I guess. A couple. Entrance area, right? Or was it the entrance of the other, well, the next area? You can't fucking auto walk here, man, which is a pain in the ass. So how do I know? Surely there's markers everywhere. What am I looking for? A ferry, so it needs to be a flying thing. I might just... Nope. I don't want to go all the way just to fucking miss a ferry, so I'm gonna try these flying enemies here. Is that walking or flying? It's walking. You're flying. Nope. Okay. Fuck, I guess I'm doing it. Time to walk. At least it's easier to avoid enemies here. So, entrance to the northern fucking Valiant grasslands or whatever. So it should be here somewhere, right? And I'm just gonna assume that it's gonna be stationary. Like that one. Oh, that one is kind of moving. Well, ferry there, but not the bounty. Let. Damn, they're fast. Jesus, chill out. And you're ambushing yourself too. That one seems kind of stationary. No, not really. Oh, well, I mean, I'll take it. Ooh, I didn't see how many stars that was. Entrance. Technically, this isn't an entrance, right? So does that mean like here? Like that one? Nope. Alright, I'm gonna look that up. Fuck. Oh, so that's how you get Hound Mask. Okay, yeah, you really need to do bounties. I didn't realize the rewards here was so crazy. 17 disarm trap. It's entirely possible to find all 27 Hound Mask and not receive a single 4-star purple. Well, fuck me, I guess. Grip gloves. Forthcoming. What? I still don't know what the fuck Morgus contract is. I haven't stumbled upon it for some reason. Abyss 2. Flutter Fairy, blah 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 blah. 2 dragonflies and 2 Vorpal bunnies in the front row, the pixies in the back row. Map location. Looking south from the end. Fuck me. I went way past it. Alright, back we go. It was in the entrance from where we began. Dun 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 dun. At least. Yeah. Yes, take me back. So it's supposedly on a rock somewhere. Like over there. Oops. looking south from the entrance. Roaming, but we'll turn white and attempt to run away. Okay, that's cool. It's good to know. So anything that turns red isn't bounty. Hello? Isn't this one kind of running away? Or is it blind? Oh no, there is. What the fuck? Alright, I don't mess with bunnies because they fucking insta-shot me every time. Let's just fucking... Chronostasis one of them. And then we do Battle Grief. And then we... Okay, they're not tanky. Oh, well, I mean, I guess it's a 1-star. I forgot I was supposed to kill these first. Please don't kill me. Fuck. Okay. I have so fucking bad luck with these for some reason. Now, you die. Bonk. Okay, that was easy. Hey, rank 6. Ugh. Just Yekaterina. Cheers. Humility. Well, when are we supposed to get her bond quest? I want the fucking orange skull too. Dun, dun, dun. Japanese and their fanfares. Always so iconic. Oh, that's how I got Host of Cursed Banquet. Man, it's getting harder, I think. I mean, it is. Beginning Abyss map killer. Killer? How mask? I see. Can't even afford one though. Codex of Learning, and they reset 19. How much do I fucking need to get in order to get all of these? I want a plus 20 the Hound Mask. How many copies do you need again? You need a lot. All 27 copies. Holy shit. That's a lot, man. That's a lot of bounty hunting. For the monthly resetting stuff. Bare minimum is the codex. Maybe the gems. Would be 4,500. Damn, that's still a lot of bounty, man. I can't believe how much people are farming this game. I'm starting to really need ore. It's like a waste. Matadozo. Okay, if it's easy location wise, I might do it. Beginning. It's nice that she's 200 bounty medals though. Next to her staircase, going from B7 to B6. Okay, that's not too bad. This is going to be 6, right? Yeah. Next to the staircase. Wait, it's that one? Instant? Okay. Yep. Oh, that's a lot of shit, man. I'm gonna do this, cause fuck. Confusion and charm. And since... Man, Ninja is kinda OP for having illusory mist, man. Holy shit, that's crazy. Do they die fast? Probably not from one. Skillbind, yikes. I guess I'll go Swiss. I need to Maranum Yakaterina. I think. Let's get rid of this one. Dude, undead sucks. Undead sucks. Lahalito, I guess. Did anyone get cursed? No. We locked out. Yikes. Oh my god, dude. Relentless. Stop. Oh. Not Ainiki with her lower fortitude. I need to thin out their numbers quick, but I also need to heal. I wanna do eddying to buy econ turn. This would probably save me from having to rest too much. Let's see. What else can I do? Oh, I'm fucking paralyzed. I can't do it. Macau 2. Now at least they won't die. Dude, eddying is so crazy. Okay, anyway. Does she have Marine? No. Do I do Maporific? They don't do a whole lot of damage, they just do a bunch of status effects, so I just have to keep up the tinctures and eddying and some fucking Kusvis and thin out their numbers. I guess the priority would be to thin out their numbers. So, I mean, if they're that many, they can't have that much HP. But I do no damage though. Well, I got one. Torrent. I forgot about Torrent. Hi. Lahalito. With my physical mage. Ping pong. Uh-oh. Oh! Right. I really need to thin out their numbers fast. Hopefully the fortitude recovers, because otherwise I'm definitely gonna die. Well, eddying might save me. Yeah, eddying on front and back line would probably save me. $44. Yeah, okay, it recovered. Good. Oh yeah. Okay. Hold on. Bro. Healer is so fucking crazy. Yeah, Katarina can cover for us one turn. Probably, maybe. Illusory Mist. Hit everyone, please. Very nice. And then we do Prayers of Rebellion. It's faster if I just like do single target. Or do I commit to doing AoE? 2, 4, 5, 5, 4, 5, 5, 5, 4. Should I just torrent? Nah. I forgot I was supposed to lie Lito here. No. No. Uh-oh. I might die here. Okay, good. Or in the middle line. What did that do? No fucking damage. Raging King 4. I want to use it. Lanaville is just a DPS, Fist DPS. She got nothing else to do. I mean, I could do Madalto. Man, I'm always so impressed with Berkenon's voice acting. When is Camille's turn? My editing is gonna run out soon. Oh shit. Okay, I need to reapply Illusory Mist. Also need to heal up. No, I didn't know the number. Kill something. Nope. Don't kill Camille. Don't kill Camille. Kill this. I have to get rid of the mages. Okay, Lanaville isn't buff. I'm just gonna do Ultra Healing on Camille. Can't have her dying. Kill this. I need eddying. I need eddying. Not skill bind. Stop sleeping me! Oh! Oh, no, I'm dying. Oh, shit. Okay, one miss. Oh my god. Eddying is priority. And then I need to heal up, thank fuck. Alright, front line should be fine and back line should also be fine, so... Okay, they have core 2 on. I might as well do Fizz stunned. Skill sealed. Quiz Fizz myself. Fuck the mages. Lalito? I feel like doing this AO. Wait, they... Okay, never mind. Nothing died. We got Camille confused, Nikki confused. I forgot about the tinctures. Oh. Okay, that's fine. You know what? No. Bug. This line. So weak. I'm so weak. Litukan. Do damage. Oh. I need Camille to get back online soon. No. I can't believe I'm surviving this shit. It's all because of Camille. I forgot I could Montinho. Well, didn't hit anyway. Camille is still confused. Mamana. Oh. Nope. Miss. Oh. Kinda have to heal. At least Camille is back. Did I miss? What happened? Kuraugai. Alright. Nice. Front line is safe again. Send you back to the Stone Age. Or just kill you. Have stone. Eat fire. Finally, we work on the ghost. No! Why do you do this, me? I have Badios and my Badios. Or I, well, okay, well, I can remove that with healer, so DPS. Do no damage. Eruption strike that. Right. Oh right, healer was confused. Fuck. Ah. What's the worst that can happen? Honk. I'm just waiting to get one shot. Okay, I'll cure it. I'll fucking cure it. This is literally the only risk, so let's take measures against it. Okay, good. Goodbye. That was nice. Swords. Have a quest for swords. Where's the stairs? Oh. Where are the stairs? My is and R's are not on point. Jesus Christ. Kuvakata. Da-da-da-da-da-da. I need another one of those 8. Maybe they spawn on other cities. I mean, they should if they have like some progression shit. I only died once. Very good. Dude, I would have died so many times if it wasn't for healer. Good thing that Dracom forgot about the specifics of some of their bounties. Alright, I think that's it for me now. I'm not sure why I went into the compendium. I need to switch Nokorika back to night. And then I'll progress Abyss. And also raise Rinne to become the farmer. But in order to do that, I need Bakesh. Oh yeah, right. I haven't done this in a while. Bakesh. I should just do it. I should just do it. Not today. Fuck that.